Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Pioneer Rifle Company here in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Really cool project in today. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these in my hands. Of course, it's not in my hands. My hands are right here. But been a long time, probably 25 years since I have put my hands on one of these. Not that rare of an item, but still a really cool item for anybody that knows me. Mr. Browning was an extremely gifted mechanical engineer and had the opportunity to give us this fantastic M1919. Now, of course, this is a semi-auto version. It's not the full auto version, but either way, fantastic guns, iconic in history. So what this is in here for is, let me see if I can pull this back with one hand, which I can't. I'm going to set you down. First, I'm going to get this open. What this is in here for, I'll take you off the stand again. And you probably won't need to be off the stand any more than that. I'm still under the weather from being sick. Might be difficult to see with this camera. There is a bunch of cosmolined in this gun, so works fairly well. Not 100% reliable. We're going to strip this down, then it's going to go in my ultrasonic cleaner, a heated bath that's a heated ultrasonic cleaner, let me put it that way, and then we'll inspect the parts. We are going to strip the bolt down because of how gummy this rifle is, and then we'll put it back together. So let me set you down and we'll get started. So I'm not going to explain everything that goes on here. I'm going to try my best to show you what I'm doing here. It's a little bit close to the table, but I'll do my best to show you what's going on. So anyway, everybody knows this is pretty self-explanatory how these open. Pull the latch back, it opens. Now, what I didn't show you is this one, when it came in, the pin is actually missing. So this castle nut should actually be a lot tighter. It's not even close to the hole. So first thing we're going to do is actually take that off. So just pull that out just like that. Let's get this off the gun, set that aside. You can, not a lot of cosmoline up in here, but there is some really thick grease there. So we're going to do that. And before I go any farther, we are going to strip the sight off this gun. We may or may not take the rear sight off. But there's a bunch of dirt in here because it's in here for cleaning. I typically take the entire gun apart as far as reasonably necessary for me to inspect the parts. And then they get dipped in the ultrasonic and run for a while, and then they come out and I look, and if I have to brush them, I brush them. But other than that, we may or may not take the rear. I know the front's coming off because it's got some nasty grime in it, so I'm not too worried about resetting the sights back to zero because I don't think they're zeroed for the customer anyway. So let's get started. All I really need is this punch, a decent screwdriver, and this hammer. And I'll show you why this hammer is here in a minute. We're probably only going to use it once. So we're going to pull the bolt back. Oh, come on. There we go. Now the bolt's free. You can see it's not even, well, it's free, but it's pretty gooey. So now that we got that, we're going to slide the catch forward, slide the back off. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple explanatory. That bolt goes all the way back. Bolt comes out. And now we have a detent here. So we're going to go ahead and I did forget to fire the gun. This one is just so gooey. There we go. See if I can get that to move now. There we are. It's just, I mean, it is stuck with cosmoline. Pull that out, sorry for hitting the camera. So before I take that apart, we're actually going to take the latch off. So it is really, really gritty. So we're going to slide it all the way back. Pull it off, latch is off now. There's no grease or anything in there, so it's kind of gritty. And you can see all the, maybe you can see all the dirt. Let's see. Maybe not. It's kind of dark back here in the back of my shop. Let's go ahead and take the front sight off. Can you see? You can't even see that. Now you can kind of see. So there's a keeper screw right here, which is actually your elevation for this. Sight just comes off. I didn't release the grub screw. We are going to take this off. Basically anything that we can take off to clean, because none of this has been cleaned properly once the gun was bought. So besides the rear sight, that's probably as far as we're going to take this down. There's no reason to take the heat shroud and all that kind of stuff off. All that's been staked. That Allen head screw doesn't matter. We may still take this off. I just got to think about it. So we do have to clean the receiver, so this entire thing is going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. So we'll set it aside. This is the part that usually gets people. They let go of that. You probably couldn't see it. Let me see if I can get you a good view. I'm going to use this hand. Grab this, push it forward. Don't let it fling out of your hands. So now that's apart. We won't strip this down any more than it is. There's not a lot of cosmoline in here, but we are going to, of course, soak that. There's your detent that keeps it in. And then we're going to mark the barrel where this is rotated into the extension, right? So I moved it one click. So we're going to mark the barrel. Now I don't know this to be headspace properly, but we'll check that when we put it all back together. So, but I do want to mark the barrel just to know. Let me get a piece of tape. I'll be right back. Alright, this may seem a little bit odd, but this is what I like to do anyway. So I know this piece of tape is going to come off. We're going to put it on the barrel since I can clean the barrel and mark it later. And these go by clicks, so we're going to, right here, which is in the middle of those detent, right, the splines, and that's really basically in the middle of the receiver, so, or the extension. If we were to notch it, if we were to clock it even one click, you can tell it's way off, so we're going to put it right there. Lift up on that, pull that out. There's cosmoline in there, there's cosmoline all over here. So now we're going to unscrew the barrel. And there we have it. So I'm not going to take this any farther apart. There's really nothing wrong with that. All the cosmoline in there will come out in the ultrasonic cleaner. So hope you can see all that. That's the locking lug for the bolt. So we're going to set all that stuff aside, and like I said, we are going to take the bolt apart. So this is where it gets interesting. I'm not going to show this on camera because I have to go over to the vise, but I mean this thing, oh, it's so gooey. I mean, just look at that. That's nice. Anyway, let's pull the extractor out. Comes out pretty easy. Don't worry about the detent and the spring coming out because they're not going to unless you really do something bad, but those won't come out. So we might take them apart. They're not so gooey. We'll see what it feels like when it comes out of the ultrasonic. I mean, there's cosmoline on there, but we'll see what it feels like when it comes out of the ultrasonic. So I am going to take this over to my vise and take this apart, and then I'll be right back. This is not something that you'd want to do without having something to secure the recoil, the action spring in there. Be right back. And voila, just like that. So here's that spring, and there's the keeper and the guide rod all built as one. So that sticks out the back of the receiver, right? So that's what I locked into the bolt before I took it apart. It's also why, if you watch the way I did it, I was like this when I took the screwdriver. You never want to stand behind it, because yeah, that is secured, but if you were to just move it or catch it on something and you were behind it, or heaven forbid you had your head down there like you were the gun upright like this and you were over top of it, that can be a really bad day. It's really, really bad for you. All of this stuff is nasty with cosmoline, so we are going to maybe leave that in. You can see there's a chunk of cosmoline here. I mean, it's just nasty gooey. We're going to dunk this the way it is and see how it comes out. That's what I think. Anyway, we'll take care of that, and I'll bring you back and we'll show reassembly of it. Stay tuned for part 2. Okay, well, continuation of part 1. I did decide to go ahead and take all of this apart, so it moves free. But we're going to take that block out. That pin just slides out like that. Block falls out. We're all good to go. This does have an orientation. Make sure you pay attention to that. So now we're going to move on to this guy. Pretty simple. Again, Mr. Browning was an ingenious person. If you can get that to come loose there. Like that. That's the spring. There's firing pin. I'm not taking the spring out of there. It works just fine. There's no reason to take that out. Those can kind of be a pain in the ass. So anyway, but it moves just fine. It'll come out of the cleaner just fine. Now the bolt is completely stripped, and so is the extension. So this will all go in the cleaner. Probably can't do it all at once. Probably 2 loads. And we'll do the small parts and stuff first. I probably won't even do the barrel. I mean, I'll clean the inside of the barrel, but the outside I'll just wipe it down. There's no cosmoline on it, so I'm not so concerned. Anyway, wait for part 2. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good night.